So if we want to take this now into the VMware stack, right, at the end of the day, this really begins and ends with applications. This is what our job is, right? Deliver applications as quickly, as safely, and as efficiently as possible. When we think about applications, there's really two general types of applications we support today. We have the traditional stuff, right? These are these applications that are monolithic, right? They use traditional databases. They may not have much in terms of availability to them. They're written to be more scale up in nature. And then on the other side, we have more modern or cloud-native applications. These applications are stateless. They have availability built into the stack. They don't need things like high availability or vMotion from VMware. They're an entirely different type of architecture. And ultimately, most enterprises are going to be using a combination of these application types over the next several years, next decade at least. Now, the way that we see these run for most organizations would be in a hybrid cloud, meaning that I should have the availability or the flexibility to deploy these applications in a variety of ways. So whether that be in a private cloud, whether that be a managed type of private cloud, whether that be public cloud, these applications are going to go in lots of different places over time. Now, VMware perspective on this is what we want to deliver to you is one cloud, giving you a way that no matter where I decide to put an application, if I need to put it somewhere else tomorrow, I can go ahead and do it without a problem. This does not mean that you're just going to have one cloud. We don't think most businesses will operate that way. You might use Amazon Web Services, you might use Azure from Microsoft, you might use some of our other local vCloud partners that are here in Argentina, or other places, other parts of the world where you need to run applications. But the key is this: with some clouds today, when you put an application there, it is going to live and die on that cloud. You will not be able to move that application off. The reason for that is the application is going to use APIs from that specific cloud provider, and it's going to be written in a way that it's using just code that's native to that single provider solution. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't move the application if I really wanted to, but for most organizations, it's simply going to cost too much. So instead of redeploying it, you just say, well, forget it. I'm just going to continue to pay so much to keep it here. It's the same challenge that many organizations have with Oracle. I can make a technical argument that I can move applications from an Oracle database, but at the end, it's usually not worth it in terms of money, so I just wind up keeping them there. And you'll see the same thing happen over time with clouds. Now, from VMware's perspective, here's the difference. If you're using our cloud, if you're using your own private cloud, if you're using one of our thousands of partner clouds, you're going to use the same APIs, you're going to use the same tools, you're going to use the same processes. So if you don't like the relationship you have with one provider, you can switch and go somewhere else. And not only is it our own APIs, but like I said before, it is a series of industry standard open source APIs that you also have the choice to use. Whether that be Docker APIs and integration, whether that be Cloud Foundry, whether that be OpenStack. You are going to decide the best way to build your architecture, and then you can go ahead and go forward from there, knowing that you can change your mind. I can switch providers. I can start an application in the cloud. I can run it in my data center. I can run it in a branch office, and I don't change a thing. That is really powerful for business agility, and we think most of your applications are going to benefit from this model. Now, we see this all running on that software-defined data center. So again, I'm defining all of my resources that I need to run an application in software. This is not just a VMware vision. If you look at the architecture of, say, Google, for example, Google is doing the exact same thing. The difference between VMware and Google is that with our stack, our software-defined data center, I can run these applications anywhere, right? Whether it be my cloud, someone else's cloud, what have you. In the case of Google, whatever I run on the Google Compute Engine is just going to stay there. They're not making their technology available in your own private data center.